Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm at Girl Trap Porsche Auckland. I am taking delivery of my GT3. Very excited. After a long wait, I can finally take it home today. It's very exciting. It's amazing to see it in the flesh, and I'm loving my spec actually. The deep black with silver wheels to match my S2000 looks great. If you haven't watched my spec video, you can watch that on our channel as well. Really can't wait to drive this GT3. There is a 1,500 kilometer run-in period, so I'm trying to get through that as soon as possible. So I'll be driving this car quite a lot in the next few days, and later on this video I will also share with you my initial driving impressions of this amazing vehicle. So please stay tuned. The interior of the GT3 is amazing. It's high quality and well built. It's a very nice place to be. So we are out from the dealership and on our way home. Unfortunately, it's raining today and it's traffic hours right now and we are stuck in the traffic on the highway. But still very excited, and I'll share with you some of my driving impressions very soon. So I'm inside the GT3. I've driven this car for about 3 days now since I picked up from the dealership. It's been exciting and very amazing. I've driven it almost every day actually. I've done about 500 kilometers in 3 days, so that's quite a bit. I'm just trying to get the run-in miles done as quickly as possible so I can experience that 9,000 RPM. It's really difficult seeing the rev counter with the 9 on it, but I can only rev after 4. That's really hard to bear actually. So I want to get the miles done so I can experience the full excitement of the GT3 as soon as possible. So just to talk a little bit about my initial impressions of this car. So firstly, the suspension. The ride is actually quite firm. It's on the firm side, but not as firm as my Exige. My Exige is really firm. It's really stiff, really hard. You feel every little bits and pieces and undulations on the road. The GT3 is still firm, but it's not jarring. It's actually quite okay. It's definitely on the firm side, but it's not uncomfortable. So driving on back roads in New Zealand, sometimes the road can be, less perfect. There are undulations, imperfections on the road. The GT3 actually soaks them up quite well and sticks to the road quite well as well. The size of the GT3 is actually quite large, I feel. From generation to generation, the 911 has evolved and become bigger. So I'm very used to driving the Exige, the S2000. They are very small sports cars, but the 911, the 992 generation GT3 is a bit larger than those two sports cars that I own. So it takes a little while to get used to it, to get used to size, its width, how to place it on the road and between the roads, and how to pick the lanes. But I'm getting used to it. It's actually quite easy to place the car, and it has a lot of feedback from the steering wheel as well, so it doesn't feel numb, and that makes the car easier to drive and easier to place. The steering is actually not too heavy. I have to say it's probably on the light side actually, and it has quite a bit of feedback for a electrically assisted rack. So on the road you can feel what the front tires are doing, but it's not as much feedback as my Exige. The Exige doesn't have any power steering at all, so it's very direct. You feel everything on the road, the imperfections, the grip. But the GT3 is also pretty good for a assisted rack. It still have quite a bit of feedback, and there's not much trim lining as I was expecting actually. The handling obviously is very good in the GT3. The front end, new double wishbone suspension. You can feel the grip is much more in the front end, and also the steering is actually quite quick, so makes the front end feel very agile actually. The overall turning sensation, even though I haven't pushed it very hard because it's still in the running period, but even at low speed you can feel when you are quartering, the whole car pivots around the driver. It's a very amazing sensation, and also I think that's also due to the rear axle steering as well, so makes the car feels much more agile than compared to its size, because it's not a small car, but it feels smaller than its size. The PDK gearbox is really amazing, I have to say. It's so fast and it's very intuitive. It's actually very related to your throttle input, so the more throttle you give, the more downshift it'll go, and it's really quick and it's really smart. So even under 4,000 RPMs, it's still quite responsive. So every time when I put my foot down a bit more, it will downshift to the right gear to make sure it's always in the around the 3,000, 4,000 RPM range. That is in sport mode, and in normal mode it will try to keep it under 3. I sometimes use the pedals to shift myself, and it's just instantaneous, very quick shifts. This gearbox, the PDK from Porsche, is probably one of the best on the market. I think that's why I spec'd it, and I think this is a great decision. The power delivery is very linear. Obviously you would expect that from this engine. This engine is quite special, but because I can only rev up to 4,000 RPM for the first 1,500 kilometers, it's hard to say how punchy it is, because this is a naturally aspirated engine. So anything under 2,000 RPM, there's not much torque, so I have to rev it up. Up to 4,000, there's a bit of punch, but I think the maximum torque actually comes in after 5,000 RPM. So I would have to experience that after the running period. There's a lot of road noise and wind noise for the GT3 actually, because there's not much sound deadening in the car, just to save weight for the GT3. Also the rear section, the tires are very wide, and they can be quite sticky, these Cup 2s, when they warm up. So they pick up a lot of debris and small stones and hit the under tray of the car, which makes a lot of noises. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this delivery video and my initial thoughts on the driving impressions of the GT3. I'm trying to get the run-in miles done as quickly as possible, so I can really push the car a bit further, a bit harder, and experience that full 9,000 RPM experience and noise of the GT3. I think that's what this car is all about. So I'm now sitting on 500 kilometers. So by the rate I am driving, I think I should get the running miles done in about 10 days, hopefully. And after that, I might get an oil change, and then I can fully exploit the experience and full potential of the GT3. So thank you again for watching. Please stay tuned and follow us and hit that like button and the bell icon so you can see more contents on the GT3 and some other cars that we own and we will review as well. So thank you. See you next time. Bye.